What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the WWE releasing 8 more superstars, wrestlers reacting to the releases, sad news regarding Hulk Hogan, Scarlett is scheduled for her in-ring return, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at WWE releasing even more superstars. There's bad news for 8 WWE superstars as the company announced even more releases upon the heels of its 4th November releases of 18 superstars. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp tweeted, "Fightful has learned that WWE have released John Morrison, Top Dollar, Ashanti Adonis, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker." These releases come as a shock in light of the releases earlier this month, a small army of releases that many think the WWE couldn't or wouldn't release anyone else. In fact, the Mat Men Wrestling podcast Andrew Zarian tweeted, "Many within the company were blindsided by this set of releases." This is the understatement of the year, and even more so when you hear what Zarian had to say. When I spoke to a very reliable source at WWE last week, the belief was that the previous set of releases would be it for 2021, but with anticipation that this would be a regular occurrence moving forward. A recent story concerning New Day's King Woods shows just how sudden and shocking the releases were. Woods learned about the releases during a live episode on G4. With 2021 almost over, fans wondered if there were any wrestlers who didn't fit in with the WWE's plans. While there were questions about why the WWE wasn't using John Morrison, few fans would have expected Johnny Drip Drip to go unused for so long. However, according to Zarian sources, unfortunately there are a lot of all-star players who will never get a chance to get off the bench. At this point, it's difficult to wrap our heads around some of these releases, especially veteran star John Morrison, who, while underutilized, still had much to offer and recently promoted wrestlers like Hit Row and Tegan Knox. Now let's take a quick look at the recently released wrestlers, first starting with John Morrison. Now, Morrison was involved in one of the biggest matches at WrestleMania 37 when he teamed with The Miz to take on Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Since then, Morrison hasn't done much of note and was incredibly relegated to occasional appearances backstage. Splitting him and The Miz up was a foolish move as their tag team had lots of life left in it and they were an asset to any brand they appeared on, providing comedy, experience and dynamic matches. Number 2, the Hit Row of Top Dollar Isaiah Swerve Scott and Ashanti Adonis. The sudden exit of Hit Row is kind of really puzzling when you consider that they were just promoted to SmackDown. The WWE's latest rap group showed promise on SmackDown, and while it's pure speculation, one can't wonder if Top Dollar's reaction to Jinder Mahal and Shanky's rap may have influenced their decision to drop them. Number 3, Tegan Knox. Now, Tegan Knox seemed to be set for a good push on SmackDown when the WWE paired her with Shotzi Blackheart, giving the newcomers 3 wins over the women's tag team champions Natalya and Tamina. However, the WWE's dumb decision to split them was likely a bad omen. Knox's past injuries may have played in a role in her release. Next up, Drake Maverick. Now, believe it or not, this isn't Maverick's first release, as the WWE also cut him in 2020 only to bring him back as part of a storyline. The problem for Maverick, who has a talent for comedy, is that Vince McMahon likely sees him as too small, particularly with the promotion pushing bigger talent on NXT. Next up, Shane Thorne. Shane Thorne appears to be one of those wrestlers who flew under the radar until Vince McMahon finally realized that he was on WWE's payroll. Thorne hasn't done anything on TV for ages and his exit kind of isn't a surprise. And finally, Jackson Riker. Likewise with Jackson Riker, who had several opportunities to get over but just hasn't clicked. Add in his backstage heat from social media comments during the Black Lives Matter movement and his vocal support for Donald Trump, and it's a surprise that WWE kept him around for this long. Speaking of surprises, we're kinda shocked that Elias wasn't on the list, as WWE hasn't done anything with him ever since the short-lived vignettes that suggested Elias was transforming into a new character, but I guess that's some good news. Next up, wrestlers react to releases. Several release superstars informed their fans on what's next, with Hit Row's Top Dollar tweeting, "See y'all in 90 days, #budget cuts. We made something special and now we gotta get to again," tagging in the Hit Row members. "My 3rd album drops 3rd December. Top Dollar's fellow Hit Row teammate Ashanti Adonis thanked the WWE for his time in the company, just giving a thank you and a heart emoji. Tegan Knox let the fans know that she's returning to her former ring name Nixon Newell, and responded to a tweet from fellow wrestler Chris Brooks asking where she's been, tweeting, "You wanna fight soon?" Drake Maverick released a touching video message via Twitter, a message that even caught John Cena's attention. In the video, Drake Maverick reacts to the news of his release only for another version of him appearing and encouraging him. Maverick's motivational persona goes on to remind him he's always been a success, along with his highlights such as, "Come on man, what was our dream? It wasn't to be a WWE superstar, was it? It was to be a professional wrestler. You can't be fired from wrestling, pal. Somebody's going to book you, even an idiot like you." 16-time world champion John Cena shared the video telling fans this is worth a watch. A very well done and very powerful message by a gifted performer. However, as we'll see, not everyone is going out quietly, as next up, John Morrison's wife blasts the WWE. While most of the released WWE superstars put a positive spin on things, John Morrison's wife Taya Valkyrie, who was released on 4th November, wasn't so kind. Valkyrie, who worked in the WWE as Frankie Monet, had this advice for fans: "Stop supporting a company that has zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling, spend your money on the hundreds of other alternatives. This is wrong. Ethically, as employers, they don't care about us, talent or fans." What do you guys think of Valkyrie's comments? Should fans stop supporting the WWE due to their treatment of their wrestlers, or is it up to the wrestlers to stand up for themselves? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Survivor Series match torn by turmoil. Now it looks like the WWE continues to push the idea that there is legit heat between Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch and SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, who are currently scheduled for an interbrand bout at this Sunday's Survivor Series. While we remain skeptical of the seemingly endless stories concerning beef between both women, WrestleVotes recently tweeted, "From what I gather, there is still some legitimate animosity between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, a feeling of disdain between them both." With that said, WWE is expecting 100% professionalism Sunday in their matchup. However, I do know the finish has been greatly debated. As the WWE continues to churn out stories about Becky and Charlotte wanting to clobber each other for real, it's become painfully obvious that while there may be friction between the two main eventers, it's likely nowhere near as tense as the WWE would like you to believe. Next up, Toni storms in Survivor Series. Now, the SmackDown Women's Survivor Series team is now complete, as the WWE tweeted that Sonya Deville has replaced Aaliyah with Toni Storm. With Survivor Series fast approaching, I want to ensure each brand is represented by the best and brightest superstars. Therefore, it's my pleasure to announce that Toni Storm will be the 5th and final member of the SmackDown Women's team. Congrats and good luck on Sunday. Seriously, couldn't they have done any segment to include her on this Friday's SmackDown on the Go Home show? Putting it up on social media is just so lazy. Next up, sad news regarding Hulk Hogan. A WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan is apparently dealing with a number of health issues, at least according to Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair discussed the Hulkster's health in the debut episode of his podcast, Woo Nation Uncensored. "He's having some really bad health issues, but he keeps up with me. We support each other good and bad. When I was in the hospital, he flew up that day like everybody else that came up to see me. Hulk was gracious, Jimmy Hart was great. I don't remember seeing them because I was in a coma, but they made the effort to go. Those are the kind of things that mean a lot." This follows previous comments from Hogan's daughter Brooke, where she told Hollywood Raw, "We counted on how many surgeries he's had in the last 10 years, and I think we're at 25. He's done a ton. But this last one that he's just had finally was like the winning ticket, so right now he's feeling great. He's working out 2 hours in the gym every day. He's still chugging along." And finally, Scarlett returns to the ring. And last but not least, former WWE superstar Scarlett Bordeaux hasn't wasted any time getting back into the grappling game. Although she was one of the 18 superstars released, she's already scheduled for several appearances in December, and our Ringside News is reporting Scarlett Bordeaux will be fighting her first match for WrestlePro. Bordeaux will be showing off her wrestling chops at WrestlePro's Killer Instinct event, which will occur on Saturday, February 5th in Rahway, New Jersey at the Rahway Rec Center. According to Ringside News, Scarlett's non-compete clause expires on 4th December, and she's scheduled for an array of appearances as soon as it ends. What do you think is next for the Lady Scarlett? Let us know in the comments down below, and what do you guys think of the releases? Be sure to follow us on social media, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.